ARPU, average revenue per user, is a main driving statistic for business health. We're private, so we don't have to deal with that. So we push people down, and it creates tenure and longevity. But that's a disruptive idea that the category cannot embrace. So for us, disruption has been front and center since the beginning.
Awesome. And so I'm excited because we're going to check out some of your commercials. But so you guys, and let's talk about sort of your theory or your philosophy of how you create these moments in media. And so you guys are really about capturing that zeitgeist, right? Capturing the consumer moment. So can you talk about how does that bleed into your campaigns? Maybe some of the inspiration.
Yeah. This is as much how we work and what we work on. So I'm sure everybody here who's a marketer has a plan, right? Like we all have our marketing calendars. We execute those calendars. They're the base of our businesses. But that's not all we do. So we're always got our ears and eyes open to what's happening in the world. Sometimes these things can be planned. Sometimes you've just got to be ready for them. But the way we work allows this to happen. So it was so neat to hear Rich talk about WhatsApp. We're all here in the US, so we use text message. But internationally, I could see exactly why he does that. But we're on text chains, and we do most of our script, concept, approvals, edits, everything is in an SMS. And what ends up happening is if you've got a brief in creative through an SMS, it has to be brief.
Yeah.
So you avoid these long, arduous briefs that actually create confusion. But because we work quick and we work through SMS, I mean, most of our campaigns are 2 weeks or 3 weeks out from air date when we start. So it's really, really fast. But what that allows you to do is that allows you to measure what's going on in the marketplace or what's going on in society and pivot off of that. Yeah. We did this last year with a big deflation promotion. We'll show some of the work later, but the original concept of deflation was not in our books. It was never on our plan. And then Verizon raised price, AT&T raised price, and I was like, well, we're not raising price. Let's go get them. And that's what we did. So we had to build the business side of it to be able to lower all of our plans to a certain price. And then we brought in, sort of the creative genius of Ryan and George Dewey, and they created this campaign that brought it to life. But there's a business side and a creative side. But had we sort of planned that, we would have never had that neat creative angle.
That moment.
Yeah. And it was insane for us. Like, when they raised price, I think it took us 2 weeks, and then we had announced our deflation promotion, and our business, not only did our business take off, but we pointed the advertising at Verizon and at AT&T, and we saw outsized gains from their customer base. Because when you go to a new provider, you bring your phone number, we can see who it's coming from, and we were crushing those too. It was great.
Talk about impacting the bottom line. I love crushing the big guys. We're going to take a look, I think, at a couple of your campaigns now.
Quick setup. So there's 2 ads. One is called Holiday Hand. It's the highest performing ad we've ever created in our history. It's stock footage.
What was it, $50 you told me?
Yeah, I think it might be 50 or 500. I can't remember. We keep trying to get it lower. So we keep trying to create ads cheaper than that. And the second one is what we call Deflation 2.0. So there wasn't a promotion with it, but the concept of prices raising and us holding our price the same. And that one, I mean, I give full credit to George and Ryan for coming up with that idea. And I won't spoil it, but it got up to, I think, 4 million views in a week.
Amazing.
And with no real paid support.
All right, well, let's check them out. I think I'm going to operate this the correct way.
Hey, it's Ryan Reynolds, owner of Mint Mobile. It's the holidays and the big wireless companies are busy spending billions on advertising. At Mint, we're not into wasting money, so we bought this spiffy stock footage for $500. Our footage also came with another hand, so we can let you know if you switch to Mint, you'll get 3 months free on all of our plans, even unlimited. Feels like that deserves an exclamation point. Whoa, easy. Easy. Wow. Hi, it's Ryan Reynolds, and I'm here in the North Pole to remind you the holidays are a magical time. It's what I would say if we were a big wireless company making an expensive holiday commercial, but at Mint, we don't spend millions telling you the holidays are magical. And that's why we can afford to give you 3 months of premium wireless free on any plan, even unlimited. If that's not magic, you tell me what is. A literal magician stage, really? Please stop helping.
So, but that's interesting. So that ad right there that just ran, I talk about having some of these moments planned. This is one we had planned. So that is a spot we ran all during the holidays. That exact spot, if you go to our YouTube or go to Ryan's, we actually cut a second version of that where we'll call that past Ryan. So that's the past Ryan. Future Ryan comes in and he has a conversation with himself, which is always weird, but he talks about how all the wireless companies have turned off their holiday deals. We haven't turned ours off. So we planned for this disruption because just the cycle, it's the new year, everybody turns off their deal. So the ad, basically, he makes fun of himself, very self-deprecating way, where he says, wait, so your thing's still going on and you've come back? This is how you're using time travel to tell us the deal's still going, which is very fun and light. But that is really performing well. So that ad the holiday hand ad is like 4x performance, anything we've ever produced, which blows your mind away because it literally cost us $500 and we shot him on a green screen. That second one didn't perform as well, but the new version of it we have out where we're talking about the holiday program staying around has skyrocketed sales. Like sales are up 50% since that ad dropped, which is insane because that is the only piece of creative we have out right now.
Amazing. I love just the spontaneity of it, right? Of, really making sure that you guys are just on point and going with your gut. And I think we're gonna talk about that a little bit. I know you guys advertise on TV, so let's talk a little bit about CTV versus linear, a little bit more tactical here. So how do you differentiate, or what's the strategy between the two mediums for you?
Well, we buy both. We've been in linear since 2019. We ran our first test to see what would happen, right? What would happen to a wireless brand selling online when you make TV spots? We didn't know. And so we test everything and we measure everything. I measure linear TV like I measure digital. Our agency has a system where the spot runs, they establish the baseline traffic to the website. We look at any pulse in traffic, we attribute that to the spot running. And we've done that for a long time. With connected TV, it's allowed us to sort of take that analysis and put it on steroids. Now we can see exact time play. We just get so much more data that we're actually using our connected TV spend, which is significantly smaller than our linear TV, but we're using it to inform how we buy linear because the customer doesn't care what box it's coming through, right? They don't know. Like you could get better targeting and all sorts of stuff with that. But if you can translate that analysis of connected TV and what you're seeing there into linear, I think it makes your overall broadcast program much, much better.
Yeah, can you give us any examples of like how some of the insights maybe you've gotten from CTV that you've helped to apply to linear?
Yeah, and I'll tell you, one of the most interesting things is that sometimes you got to take these and just let them sit for a minute, Like we look at data, and I know we're going to talk about instinct in a minute, but I'm sure everybody in this room has had it where you look at the data and you're like, this can't be right. Like this just doesn't feel right to me. And I get those instincts and I'm like, I'm not sure if I'm ready to make a shift or a change. So oftentimes what I'll do is if I get that like spidey sense, I'll say, let's just wait and watch. And the other thing is that our brand is a baby brand. We're only 6 years old. We've only been on TV since 2019. There's something to be said for analysis paralysis, right? Like we could look and make all of our decisions based on the numbers, but I refuse to allow that to happen because I think the numbers can be misleading sometimes. And with a baby brand, there's also that our number one performing ad, I can only run it during the holidays, which I have every holiday since it ran. But I also have another ad that's very, very high performing. Nothing can dethrone it. We do a champion challenger approach. Nothing seems to dethrone it. Well, if you did that, you would only run new creative for 2 or 3 weeks, and then you would just always revert back to the old. But as a new brand, having breadth in your story is really important. That matters to people. Well, it matters to the brand. It matters to the people potentially consuming the brand. And I think data will tell you right away, hey, this isn't up to snuff. It's not performing as well.
Yep.
But I think sometimes you have to throw that in the trash and look at what you're trying to solve for from a bigger picture standpoint, and then use your own brain. Like, we're all savvy marketers in here. Like, you're paid to not read data, but to understand what's happening and make recommendations and decisions. So there are many times we'll look at it, we'll tune, but there are often times where we'll look at it and we'll go, yeah, that may be the data, but I don't believe it yet. So let's let it just marinate a little bit longer, see what ends up happening. And we've had data change over time.
Right, where consumers are, you've got to almost wait for their behavior to catch up.
Yeah,
right?
And sometimes, look, our ads are not complicated, as we've seen in the last 60 seconds. They're very simple to understand, but sometimes it takes a second. It takes more than one. My dream is every one impression leads to a sale, the most efficient ever.
Right.
But that's not reality. Sometimes it takes a few times for you to watch it, be motivated, understand, et cetera, et cetera.
So what kind of data are you using to help you, whether it's optimize your frequency or, whatnot, right? How are you guys addressing that?
Well, so for me, I think this is a good idea. Probably people hear me like, oh, this guy's in trouble. He's making all kinds of weird decisions. But I only measure, like for television or connected or linear, its job is not to sell. It's unfair to run a TV spot and say, oh, my TV spot ran, where's my sale? Why? Because the TV spot, you can't buy from it. Its job is to motivate you to take an action. The action's to either search us or to go to our website. So when I look at TV and I measure TV performance, I look at website traffic. I look at Google search. I look at those things. Then that group is my media team and the creative team. My e-commerce group is the group I get critical on conversion rates, right? Like, your job in running e-commerce is to make sure the platform's converting people who come in. Now, if we have an issue with quality of traffic, we can have a conversation. Sorry, the D2C group for me is one person runs D2C. That includes media, e-commerce, and retention, right? So it's the full customer lifecycle: trigger, purchase, repurchase.
Yep.
You have to measure those differently, in my opinion. You can't make it the fault of TV that someone didn't renew.
Yep.
You can't make it TV's job to sell a product. That's my perspective. And I think when you measure, you have to measure each by its ability to impact change. TV, search interest, traffic to the website. E-commerce, CVR, page depth or website depth, things like that. Retention, how many people are continuing them on with the service. So for me, I could be honest with you. I don't know all the things they're doing,
Sure.
like how they're tracking everything. But look, I'm not gonna lie. I'm not an SME in that. But we are very good at making sure people aren't tasked with changing something they're not in control of.
Yep. So do you have any examples or so we talked a little bit about, sort of all the data at your fingertips where you have sort of reversed it based on your human instinct?
Yeah. Lots of times. I can think of 4 or 5 commercials we've run where the data told us take it down, and I was like, no. My team, Jeff's like, we got to take this down. It's not working. I'm like, Jeff, just leave it. Let's just leave it, see what happens. We've done that. We're an e-commerce site, so we have at any point in time 10 CRO tests going on our website. I got a report this morning when I was waiting for the plane to come here, and it was saying that a tried and true tactic we know to motivate sales transactions is not working. The team pulled the tried and true tactic down. And I got in there and I'm like, why are we pulling this down? They're like, the data is telling us it's not working. And I'm like, the tactic is not the issue. The tactic is solid. Something else is at issue here. And then we dissected that and we looked at it and we think we've figured it out. It's a messaging issue. So we're going to revise the messaging and re-implement the test because it makes no sense. I have history of, this is one where data was telling me one thing and then I got new data telling me something else, but I just don't believe it. So we're going to retest. That test will probably go live either later today or tomorrow. And then we'll be able to see if, in fact, what the truth is.
Yeah.
But I've never worked in an e-commerce business before. Before this, I was at Taco Bell, like slinging tacos. So, like, I don't know, like, it just seems right, though, like my instincts are telling me, this doesn't feel right to me. So I'm willing to take a risk. And the neat thing about e-com is you can test so many different ways, and you can cut little pieces of audience segments and give that test to just that segment versus control. And I love it. As a marketer, it's like a kid in a candy store.
Yeah. So it is data driven, but you're combining that with that, that humanness, right?
Yeah. We talk about it as common sense.
Yeah.
Like, it's something that is absent, I think. It's a missing skill that people need to hone. It's weird to say common sense is missing, but you get folks who are so wrapped up in the data, and they build these beautiful charts and this robust analysis, but common sense will tell you that doesn't make sense. So we're always sort of got the BS factor, or this like common sense gauge that we put into everything.
The cool thing about it, though, is that, yes, the common sense is telling you that's not the problem, but the data is the thing that actually informed you that you had a problem.
Absolutely.
Right? So you actually need both to be able to make it work.
100%.
Yeah. So we're all here at CES. It's January 5th, I think. I don't know. It's like, dog years here in Vegas. What do you see as the biggest challenge or opportunity for 2023?
I look at the marketplace, and I think I was just talking to someone outside, and they were talking about uncertain future of the U.S. economy next year. It's certain. The recession is coming, right? We don't know how big, how deep, or how brutal it's going to be, but next year is not going to be this year is not going to be a gangbuster year. I think the two most popular, or the two most important things for brands to do today are to reground yourself in value.
Yep.
Value for the money, and ease. And for me, ease is ease of access, right? You have to make it easy to find your brand. You have to make it easy to shop your brand. You have to make it easy to consume and purchase your brand. People are losing sight of this. This is a common sense thing. Distribution helps growth, right? But you have to do smart distribution, and you have to do it in a place where it's easy. So for us, I'm sure everybody in this room is an iPhone user, or most of you are. You know about eSIM, right? It's this new embedded SIM technology. We adopted it 2.5 years ago. The world is sort of finding out about it now, but that's distribution through a QR code. That's the easiest thing in the world now. We all know how to scan a QR code. Every restaurant we go to for the last 2 years has got a QR code out. That didn't exist before.
That's right.
So we really capitalized on that and are putting that everywhere, because access, distribution, and ease are going to get you growth, provided you have a good, strong brand and you're solving a customer's pain point.
And you're true to your brand, right? You're authentic.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Awesome. I think we're going to open it up for questions. One. Sorry, I have to flip my glasses up to actually see.
It's okay. Any questions?
Yeah.
I knew there was a question.
For you, like, what is your favorite part of your job? Like, you mentioned a lot of different marketing divisions. Like, what excites you?
I have a really special job. I get to work with the team at Maximum Effort. So I get to work with George Dewey. I get to work with Ryan. It's weird, like in a good way. And I'll tell you, like, I was at my son's soccer game, and my phone, I got a text message. I was like, oh, excuse me. Oh, the boss is texting. And but it was work, right? Like, it was new creative, or we were working through a challenge. That's pretty cool. Like, it's unique. I've been an agency before, so I've worked with celebrity, but they're an endorser, right? He's an owner. He's fully vested in the business. So it's pretty cool and unique in that I'm solving business problems with marketing, with an owner who believes in marketing and gets marketing. It's rad, because you get to create solutions that are super, super fun. We have something we're trying to figure out how to get it cleared right now, but I don't even remember whose idea it was, but you can see eyes light up when you get this, like, they have a Slack channel they call dry powder or powder keg or something like that. And there's always infinite ideas going in there. And I had said something to them that was already in there. So they're like, oh, this is exciting. But like to see that come to life and to see the creative process take 2, 3, 4 days, and then we're shooting, and then it's done in a day and a half after that, it's probably the most exciting piece of what I get to do. The most fulfilling piece for me, though, is to have I got hired to come to this company, and there were 9 people in the marketing department. We have 130 now, and they're world class. Like, the group is awesome. So for me, being able to see people grow, learn, and solve the brand's problems without me being there is so insanely satisfying that, like, that is easily the most rewarding piece of what I'm doing.
Awesome.
Any others? One more? Going once,
Having a personality and owner like Ryan Reynolds, how do you straddle the line between when to bring him into your campaigns versus when you're going to take a different approach? Is there, a thought process behind that?
Why would you not use them for everything? No, but like so I'm sure everybody here who does digital marketing is buying Google display ads or something like that. We don't put them in GDN work, right? Or just hard hitting lower funnel stuff. We don't put them in search, things like that. Although we do obviously buy his name because people are looking for Ryan Reynolds' cell phone company. But we use him for everything, right? The reality is he's part of the process. So I build the marketing calendar and the innovation schedule for the brand over the year. We present it to him. He's fully bought in, knows exactly what we're doing, has input on it. Our first year presentation to him, it was like, whoa, you guys have way too much in here. You need to simplify this calendar, which was really good insight. And we got locked in on what we wanted to do. We like to use him for everything because he's got a great personal brand. He's very articulate. He's fun. It works. It's highly effective for us, but we don't want to overuse it. So, I mean, there are times where you won't see a lot of maybe social work. You may see him on television with ads that are just running, but you won't see us driving in social media because something else is going on, like a movie launch. And then it just starts to feel what we call sweaty, right? Like if you're launching a movie about Scrooge, do you really want to be like schlepping wireless right after that runs in your social feed? So we're good at that, and we understand where to push, where to pull, but we do like to use him for everything because he's such a powerful component to the brand. And we've got lots of analysis on when you look at a customer, a Mint Mobile customer, there are those who are what we call Ryan aware and Ryan unaware. And there is a different perception of the brand between the two. And the people who are Ryan aware have higher loyalty, higher affinity. The brand scores are much higher. As a brand marketer, I want that for everything. So it's a fine balance, but we like to use them as much as we can.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Aron. This
Thank
was
you.
super fun.
Yeah.
And I hope everybody's got a great day.